Hello and welcome to the Nova Show Real Estate Records. My name is Tristan Hammett and I am your host for today's episode. And today I am thrilled to feature Alen Kantarevic, a Utah top producing realtor and lifelong entrepreneur with almost 11 years in the industry. Alen's journey began when he was brought to the U.S. as a child from war-torn Yugoslavia, facing the challenges of living in a refugee camp and adjusting to a new culture. With an entrepreneurial spirit that began at a young age, Alen defied the odds, building a successful career in real estate and dedicating himself to mentoring others. Tune in to hear his inspiring story of resilience and triumph. Welcome, Alen.
Well, thank you, Tristan. I appreciate the introduction right there.
Well, I appreciate actually today me being here.
Yeah.
If you're looking on YouTube today, we're actually in his studio.
Yeah, well,
so
welcome.
This is fun.
Welcome to our home.
Yes, thanks for having me.
Of course.
Okay, I am inspired by your past and you coming to the U.S. and it's a somber story.
Thank you.
So will you share with us, your journey from Yugoslavia to the U.S. and then we'll kind of like fast forward a little bit into how you got into the real estate world.
So originally, I'm born in Bosnia. Came originally when I was 6 years old from Bosnia, like she was talking about. So I was born 1990. We had, I guess, the perfect little home and family and everything. My dad was a factory worker. My mom, was in banking over there. And but right when the war happened, like we lost literally everything. Where literally we fled our homes, we were hiding out. And you go from literally having an average, middle-class life to absolutely nothing. And then fast forward, now you're trying to like save and fight for your life. Fast forward a little bit later is, my dad's a prisoner of war. We're hiding out my grandma's condo downtown. The enemy's, pretty much surrounded. People are, tanks, snipers, you name it. We're hiding out over there. My grandpa comes over to brings us food. And then as he leaves, he's killed right in front of our building, by a sniper. And then we don't find out for a few days after that. So that was just kind of like the beginning, if you want, of that part of my chapter, if you want to say. And then shortly after that, we escaped. We crossed the border right over there because we're right there by the border of Croatia. So we fled over there. And then we were in the camp for about 16 months. Where we had our little shack, I think I showed you a picture before as well. My dad built it for us. Mm-hmm. But, dad was a prisoner of war. He couldn't walk for year and a half. He had shrapnel all throughout his legs. And we were just over there, but it was actually, I was looking at my picture the other day actually, and it kind of looking back, like how far we've come. Mm-hmm. I think it's important to kind of reflect on that. But yeah, we were in the camp for 16 months. Eventually the U.S., and I think the UN, they got involved and pretty much, gave us the opportunity to come over here to Utah. I mean, to the U.S. in general. We didn't necessarily pick Utah, but I'm forever grateful that we did come to Utah. I love Utah. Utah is my home at the end of the day. But yeah, no, I came here when I was 6. My brother was 10. And then both my mom and dad, we both came here. And then a little bit kind of about that is, I watched my parents kind of struggle, growing up. Mm-hmm. Both of them working 2-3 jobs. My dad was in a wheelchair for a little bit, and then eventually, he was able to walk. But both of them, worked 2-3 jobs constantly. Both my brother and myself, we pretty much fed ourselves, bologna, popcorn, whatever, whatever you got, what the welfare, lifestyle. And but yeah, I watched my parents kind of go through that, and but it was interesting. Like I always had that little, if you want to say the entrepreneurial little spirit or that bug or the itch or whatever you want to call it. But like even when I began going to elementary, I think I was like in first, second grade, I began like trading, what was it first? First it was like marbles. I'm playing marbles, of course. Yeah. And then after that was, Pokemon cards and then CDs and DVDs, selling that, etc. And then as we made our way into junior high, we, I began selling clothing. I'd like to buy, T-shirts, iron on a T-shirt, sell, 15 a shirt or 2 for $25. That was kind of like the beginning of my entrepreneurial, journey, if you want to say. So that was kind of a little bit into junior high, and then I got more into pallets of clothing, etc., like you mentioned before. Mm-hmm. But to kind of fast forward, I kind of went through that whole journey. First it was like marbles and Pokemon cards and CDs, DVDs, then clothing. Then eventually the iPhones came out, and I began selling iPhones and iPads and etc. And then kind of, while I was still working at Little America Hotel at that time as well, which I got to meet a lot of cool people. But that was kind of a little journey, I guess, a little background right there, if you want to say. And then if you want me to, do you want me to kind of get into like a little bit of the real estate portion? I'm trying to figure out like.
Yeah. No, I just wanted to talk about, because I feel like not everyone has that natural drive. Sometimes a lot of people have to work for it. You have to like have something to like fuel your fire, and which I know you have that too, but you also naturally have like this drive in you, where you've created these businesses, and started at such a young age. And I just find it fascinating because I was not thinking about selling anything when I was that young, So I think some people are just born with that, I know, Nudia very well. Nudia also shares that she like was doing the same thing, door knocking, selling, like, I think it was like knives or something,
of course.
So I want to talk about that too, because I'm sure you were getting like a little bit of taste of money, you're making your own money, and
well, I never wanted to ask for a handout. And even like when I was going to college as well, I never wanted to ask for a handout. I never wanted to get like a loan from my parents or anything. I'm like, either I'm going to do it or, like I'm not going to ask for anything. If I want something, I'm going to go out and get it.
I'm going to do it.
But then also kind of going back to what you just mentioned is people have that natural drive and everything too, is like, the way I kind of look at it is like, if they can go through what they went through, like getting shot at and going through all the BS and, everything that you had to overcome and everything too, what's kind of stopping me from waking up out of bed and going to work and doing something with my life? Yeah. It's like, if you can overcome that, like, I don't want to let down my lineage in a way, or like my family, and be like, hey, you guys had to go through all of these trials in life and everything too, and now we've made it here, now for me to just go, nah, I'm gonna chill out, I'm okay.
Yeah.
Like, I don't want to be average, I don't want to be mediocre, and I don't think anybody should or would want that type of life, which, if you do, that's totally fine. But it's like, at least the way I look at it is like, while we're here, while we have this chance in life, like, why not make the best of it? Like, at the end of the day, like, why not just give it your all? Like,
and you went okay, I might be wrong, but I kind of remember this because, but you went to college.
I did, yeah.
Yeah, and then tell me about the story about, like, with your mom. So you went to college.
The funny thing about the whole college thing is, I went to college, got my bachelor's degree, and it was like, I think 2022. So I got my degree, and literally, the thing is, I went to college just to make my mom proud. I had no intention of even using my degree, but I wanted to make sure I kept my promise to my mom. So I made sure I went, I got my degree. Even teachers would ask me like, hey, what are you going to do with your life, with your degree? And I'm like, I'll be honest with you, teacher. Like, I have no intention of doing anything with my degree. I'm just here to get a degree to make my mom proud and just to give it to her, just say, here you go. I'm going to go off and do my own thing. Like, I was kind of knew within me that I was going to do something. I'm not even going to say bigger or better, because that's not the correct word to use. It's just, I knew I had a different path in life. And, I just knew that, hey, but I wanted to make sure I kept my promise. Like, hey, here's my promise to fulfill this for you, to make you proud, but I'm going to go off and do my own thing and kind of figure it out. Okay. And then, 22, I graduated, gave the degree to my mom, and then at 23, I got into real estate. Okay.
And so when you were going to college, is this when you were working at Little America?
Yeah.
Yeah. And then this is where you met a lot of people.
Yeah.
And did someone from the restaurant get you into real estate or talk to you about real estate?
Well, I was a waiter. Sorry. Yeah. I was a waiter for about year and a half, about from like 20 to about 21-ish, 22-ish, give or take. And then for the next maybe year and a half, I did room service. So I think room service was really eye-opening for me because I got to meet a lot of cool and influential people. Like really, really, I met a lot of actors and actresses and NBA players, and you name it. A few people that I met as well that had a really huge impact on me as well as, Brandon Fugel, for example. He's a big commercial dude here. You know.
He's like a real estate mogul.
Yeah, he's awesome, and he was a guy that I met over there too.
That was you. You did tell me that.
Yeah. And it was cool because, I was like 10, 11 years ago. And I got to meet a lot of like high caliber people without even realizing, the caliber level that they were operating at in a way. But I just, there's certain people that you look up to, you respect, and you're like, wow, like I like that, or whatever it might be, and so I got to kind of get a little taste of real estate, I'm like, oh, what do you do? Can you share with me a little bit about what you do? So I feel like him, along with a lot of other people too, had a huge, influence in my life of kind of people be like, hey, why don't you give it a shot? Why don't you'd be good at that, even a few other brokers, people in the industry as well. And at that time, my parents were looking for a home, and I'm like, I'm gonna get into real estate.
Okay.
Because I've always kind of been wheeling and dealing my whole life.
Yeah.
My whole life I've literally been wheeling and dealing, and I'm like, well, I could do that too. You know. So it's a little, backstory on that.
Yeah, I love that. Okay, so you celebrated 10 years in real estate this last year.
This
year.
This year. Yeah, February.
Earlier this year. So almost 11 years.
Yep.
And you've done a lot since then.
Yeah.
So walk us through like getting your first deal.
This one's actually pretty interesting. It was actually my first deal. It took it took a few months to get it, honestly. It was actually for my parents. It was my first deal in real estate. It was actually a home that I helped purchase for my parents.
Because I had to have felt so good.
Oh yeah, it was like, because at that time we were kind of talking about it. We were like trying to figure out. I'm like, hey, this is my next journey in my life and career and everything too. And but I wanted to be able to help them, get a home, in a better neighborhood, if you want to say. Mm-hmm. And it would be my first transaction, all that stuff too. And but yeah, my first deal was actually pretty interesting. It took maybe 5-6 months to get my first deal. And then the interesting thing, this was actually an interesting moment. This was actually one of those moments I feel like where life could have taken a different turn in life, for me at least personally, where I would have never been this person that I am currently today, or even in general, I probably wouldn't even be here right now today in full transparency, because at that time, I had the deal. I'm not sure if I told you about this or not, but I was under contract on their property, and the day the appraisal comes in is the day that my whole life kind of shifted and changed in a way. Is because the day it came in, I'm on top of the moon, like, hey, appraisal just came in, like, hey, we're closing here in like roughly 2 weeks. And but at that time, I was still selling phones, iPads, etc. And at that time, I happened to get a call, because I was always known as Alen the iPhone guy, the Apple guy.
Okay.
Now I'm known as Alen the real estate guy,
Yeah.
And at that time, I get a call, hey, bro, I know you buy phones, and I knew the guy too. I'm like, oh, whatever. So anyway, I ended up meeting this guy at McDonald's just off of like 45th and Redwood Road right there by the college, by Salt Lake Community College. It's probably like right around like 3 p.m., 2:30, 3 p.m., give or take. And I had work at 5 p.m., so I figured, okay, cool, I'll just go meet up, as I normally do for years and years. Go over there, meet the guy, buy the phone, go home, get ready, go to work. Get my little apron on, go to work, And but at that time, it was actually, this is pretty like interesting how it played out. I meet the guy, we meet inside the McDonald's, and he has an iPhone and an iPad that I'm trying to buy from him. And I think the phone or the iPad, one of them ends up having no battery, so one of them is completely dead. And I'm like, hey, bro, I have a charger in my car. Like, it's totally fine. Like, I can go charge it in my car. So, naively, we just go into my car, and we just sit there. I'm charging the phone up, and the guy's kind of getting a little different. He's like
antsy.
A little antsy. He's like, hey, like, are you going to buy it? Are you not? I'm like, dude, like, let me just charge it. Like, it's loading, Excuse me. And as it's loading up, I'm looking at it. I'm like, oh, okay, cool. Yeah, bro, it's working. Everything's looking good. And then what do you know? Next thing you know, I have a gun just like literally.
You did not tell me this.
I don't think I ever did.
Oh my god.
So I have literally a gun pointed right at my temple right there. And what do I do? Thinking it's a joke, because I feel like I'm a jokester. I'm just like, whatever. I'm like, hey, get out of here. I'm like, dude, get out of here. He's like, no. I'm like, bro, like, quit messing around. He's like, no, give me your money. Give me pretty much everything you have. And I'm like shocked right now. I'm like, is this a joke? Am I getting pranked right now? What's going on? But unfortunately enough, that was the real deal. That was the real deal. Wow. Where now I'm being held at gunpoint, take my phone, my wallet, you name it. And in this moment, I'm like, bro, just take whatever you need. Just take it. Just please don't kill me.
Yeah.
And he starts to put everything away. He takes all the stuff. He puts the gun away, and he's getting out of the car. And I don't know why in this very, very moment, I thought it'd be a good idea, because in that time I just began real estate. I'm 6 months in. Obviously I have your phone is everything, right?
Yeah.
You think your phone is worth more than your life. I don't know why in that moment I thought it was worth more than my life, but I did. So what do? As he's like getting out of the car, he starts running to the getaway car. So I get out of the car too, and naively enough, I run after him, thinking, hey, maybe he'll give me my phone back, right? So anyway, I run after him. I grab him. He's trying to get it out. And I'm like, bro, please, 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 just take the money, take whatever you want. I don't care about that. Just please give me my phone. Like, thinking, I don't know why that was just.
Yeah, like he would be like, yeah, here you go, bro.
Yeah, and we kind of were like scuffling back and forth. And I'm like, bro, just please, take whatever. Just please give me my phone. Just please. Surprisingly enough, I get my phone back. He's like, here, just get out of here. And I'm like, wow, I got my phone back.
Wow.
Which is great.
Yeah.
And then he runs away to the car again. And I'm thinking, well, I got my phone back. What do I do now? It's probably what I shouldn't have done, but here's what I did. You know, I run after him again, thinking I'm gonna get my wallet and my money back, right? Oh, no. Which is probably not the best thing to do. But anyway, so to kind of fast forward, I run after him. He's in the getaway car. He's trying to get the gun out. His girlfriend comes around. She's beating me up. She pepper sprays me, and you know, I start kind of fumbling down. Then she gets back into the car. They drive off, and I literally just I roll out of the car, just beat up, pepper sprayed. I'm just like, oh, what just happened? And so anyway, I just run into the McDonald's out. We were there in the parking lot, and I just run, call 911, you know, and yeah, I don't think I ever, told you that.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, that was the whole thing.
That would be a pivotal moment. Like, am I slanging phones or am I going to slang houses?
Yeah, I feel like
safer option here.
That was one of those, I guess, defining moments. And I feel like we have a lot of defining moments in life, but that was my first, my first real estate transaction in real estate. And then there was a whole thing, cops came, et cetera, detectives came, and that was a whole other thing. Then, court, eventually they got the guy, and it took a while, but it was.
That is wild. You did not tell me that.
Yeah, it was pretty interesting. And then, I had working literally an hour and a half. I'm in the car with the detectives, and I'm calling my manager like, hey, here's what happened. I can't come to work. And she's like, hey, you got to come. And I'm like, I can't come to work right now. I'm like a bit traumatized right now. Like, I come home, my parents look at me and go, hey, what happened? And I'm like, nothing. You okay? I'm okay. I go to my room and just, you can't really believe what just happened. Because I didn't want to worry them at the end of the day. Last thing you want to do. But yeah, that was my first deal in real estate.
Oh my gosh. Okay, so you closed that house on your parents, and then how do you get the ball rolling?
So yeah, to kind of here's how the next little bit kind of played out. So my first deal were there. So from that point on, from August to literally the next August, 1 year I'm kind of in between. So I do 5 total deals now from my first deal to August.
Okay.
I do 5 more deals, and pretty much. Which is not a lot of deals, to do in a whole year. Well, it's pretty much a year and a half from the point I began. And I was actually thinking about getting out of the game, believe it or not. A lot of people don't know this. It's like everybody kind of looks at people and go, oh, they're good. I'm like, it's been a journey. It's been definitely a struggle, to get to the point where you're at. But yeah, my first year and a half, I do 5 deals, and I'm contemplating, is this really, for me? Mm-hmm. I'm making decent money at the hotel. I'm making decent money, phones and everything too. So I was thinking about getting out of the game. I meet with one of the recruiters that recruited me, Lindsay Wardle. I don't know if you know her. I'm pretty sure you do.
I've heard her name.
She's cool.
Yeah.
She's cool. So she recruited me, years ago. But I remember this stuck with me, and I'm grateful for her until this day. I'm going to shout her out because she was like, yeah, Alen, I think you're right. It might not be a good fit. You might not be cut out for it.
Called you out.
And I'm like, oof.
Yeah.
Dang. I didn't really expect that, but I respect it. Because I think too often people kind of sugarcoat it and go, no, you got it. You got it, which is fine. I understand that as well. There's only a certain point where you kind of have to make that decision for yourself and go, either I'm going to go all in or not. Mm-hmm. So then, yeah, right at that time, it was literally, I had a buddy, he was on a team, and he was like, bro, we just call leads. Because I was already used to calling. Every morning I wake up, I call for phones, I buy a phone, sell it, et cetera. That was my routine anyway. So anyway, I began calling leads, all this stuff too. So literally September through December, I closed 12 transactions. Wow. And I'm like, oh, this is pretty cool.
September through December of the same year.
Yeah. So that year. 12. So pretty much, I go full time. So yeah, my first, year and a half, pretty much, I do 5 transactions, including, half a year of nothing. And then that first year. And then now we're into 2015. So 2015, August to December, I closed 12 transactions. Okay. And I'm like, oh, wow. I kind of, you got the ball rolling a little bit, if you want to say.
So you started off calling leads because you were on the team.
Yeah. My first year and a half, I was just solo dolo.
Okay.
Solo dolo, trying to figure it out. And I just called, closed 5 deals, which wasn't a whole lot. Then I began calling leads. I jumped on a team thinking, hey, I have nothing to lose, everything to gain. Might as well. And then I closed 12 transactions those next 4 months. And I'm like, oh, wow, like, this works. Half were leads, half were SOI. I got the ball rolling. And then at that point, I made that commitment, if you want to say. It's kind of like you decide. You're like, I'm going to make that final commitment of like, I'm going to go all out. So I quit the hotel and quit doing the phones and everything too. And I just go, I'm going to go all out on this. Because I figured, I'm like, I already made what I would have made anyway for that whole year at the hotel.
Yeah.
Even if I don't make a single penny, I've already made that in this 4 month period. So now I have a whole year pretty much that I can figure it out, if you want to say. Mm-hmm. So yeah, that next year, official, I guess if you want to call it first full-time year officially, I do 36 transactions. You know, that was my first time ever in my life, ever making over $100,000, you know, in a year.
Yeah.
And I'm like, wow, like it felt good. You know, you're like,
was
wow.
that still leads SOI?
Literally half and half.
Okay.
I remember looking back at it, it's like, because as the years go on, it goes from like half, 50-50, and then it's like, more your SOI kind of kicks in more and more. Then it's like 70-30, and then 80-20, and now it's, for me, it's all SOI now, But yeah, it was like literally half and half.
Okay.
And then the year after that, I did 69 transactions. So 69, it was like first time ever making $500,000,
That's
and that was
crazy.
like 17, I think it was.
And you're young.
I'm young.
Yeah.
I'm young, and the year after that I do 49, and then it was cool because it was a 3-year period where I'm like, wow, like made over $1 million. Like it felt good. I felt like because I think it's important for people to have these goals, whether it's 150 deals or 100 deals or $100,000, whatever that number might be.
Something to strive for.
Just something to strive for. Like even right now, we all have to have something we're striving for. And at the end of the day, it doesn't even matter about that. Like you just need a target. Like I'm the type of person, like I need a target to aim at. That way I know what I'm aiming for. And then once you kind of achieve that, whatever it might be, you kind of just realize that you're like, it's never really been about that. It's been about that whole journey and who you're becoming in that whole, that journey, if you want to say. But yeah, it was interesting because it was that 3-year period. I was like 28 years old, and I was like, wow, like I guess if you want to say I made it, quote unquote. Mm-hmm. I think a lot of us kind of define making it in a different way, but that was a little. I mean, that's kind of, yeah.
Well, and that's a lot of money coming from nothing.
Yeah.
Absolutely nothing, like in a refugee camp, like, and then now you're making before you're even 30 years old, $1 million. Yeah. Like, that's awesome. That's dedication. That's hard work. That's not something that comes easily. That's skills. That's,
It's just discipline. Because I was so consistent, still am, just consistent and so disciplined where literally it was like no partying, no going out, no nothing. It was like, the way I looked at it is like, I'm going to strictly dedicate all of these years in this time frame to just building myself and net worth and whatever you want to call it. Then that way later on in life, I can have time to be with my kids and be able to kind of buy back your time a little bit. You're still going to be involved. Like I'm still, don't get me wrong. I'm still in the action. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
But I wanted to be able to still be there. Like tomorrow morning, we're leaving to Hawaii, for example. Mm-hmm. Like I want to be able to just kind of, hey, you want to go? Cool, let's go. I want to be able to just kind of up and leave whenever, But I think there's a certain point that every, if you want to call it entrepreneur, agent, et cetera, like in general, like anybody will kind of go through, you have to put that time in,
Well, you said it. So all these agents are like, they want to know the secret sauce. You just said it. It's consistency. Like no matter what avenue you take to build your business, like if it's web leads, if it's open houses and door knocking, if it's reaching out, like it's the consistency part. Yeah. So it doesn't matter how you're going to do it. Yeah. You just need to be consistent.
And the one thing too, I feel like at that time too, like I didn't really do any social media or anything like that too. Like for those years and years and years, like I've had months or quarters where you make ridiculous amounts of money, and I never really wanted to like show it or anything because I'm like, I don't want to be looked at a certain way, or maybe it was a limiting belief, maybe it wasn't. I don't know. I just didn't want people to kind of think this or whatever it might be. But I think it is important to share your wins and your victories, though. I'm a firm believer of that. Mm-hmm. But I remember like at that time, so like literally it was like, I remember like when we launched, for example, I think it was about 5 years ago, for example. So we went through that whole journey, I guess if you want to say, year over year, just crushing it in real estate as an independent agent. And then at 28, I'm thinking I achieved everything I wanted to achieve. But then at the same time, I'm like, I don't really feel fulfilled. It was interesting. Like you would think, hey, I got this, I got that. And you would think, like, I guess if you want to say you make it, But then you're like, no, there's got to be more.
Right.
You know, and that was around the time where, you know, Fernando, me and him partnered up, and then we launched. We launched. But prior to that, is what a lot of people don't know as well is like my whole life kind of came crumbling down. I don't think I'm not even sure if I kind of share that a little with, but my whole life like literally came. It was like my health fell apart.
Yes, I do remember.
My relationship fell apart. Everything kind of just went to crap. Those you know next few months and everything too. And I remember like looking at myself going like, okay, this is kind of like that rock bottom moment, if you want to call it, of like either I'm going to kind of curl up in a ball and be like, all right, well, I tried.
Yeah.
Game over, right?
Yeah.
Or I'm like, nah, like I get one chance, one life. Like I'm gonna do something with myself. Like I'm gonna come out of this even stronger, if you want to say.
Yeah.
And it's exactly what happened, you know?
Well, and I want to talk about the discipline part. You shared a story with me before, and it was, I don't think it's like this now. You're in a different season of life. You've got 2 young kids. You've got your girlfriend.
My beautiful girlfriend who I love so much.
Girlfriend, Ceci. We all love her so much. Ceci, I applaud you, girl. This man was very spicy before this podcast. And I was like, how
does she do it?
How did she do it? I don't know. So I applaud you. Anyways, you had said something to me before where like we're going into discipline part. You would lay out your outfits.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Tell me about that. Cause like you were setting up like your day for success, going into the office, like everything's planned out.
So pretty much the way I had it all like organized is Monday to Friday was dedicated strictly. I'd come into the office. It was like 7, then you have morning ascent, typically 8 to 9. And then I began calling from like 9:15, give or take. And I called from 4 to 6 hours every single day, like consistently. Like that's just what I did, you know, and everyone has their thing, whether you're calling leads, whether you're doing social media, whatever it might be. I don't care. Like whatever you're doing, just be consistent. Even if you're knocking doors, who cares? It does not matter. As long as you're doing it, be extremely consistent and do it every single day. So the way it looked like for me is Monday to Friday, I called, and then of course, you know, later on in the day, you'd have your appointments, et cetera, all that stuff too. But then typically my Saturdays kind of looked like showings all day long. Like I had my folders, my little sticky note per folder. You know, this client, that client, that client. So I'd meet a client at, let's say, 10. We'd finish up at 12. Meet another client at 12:30 until 2:30. Another client from maybe 4 to 6, etc. My Saturdays were typically always booked out. And Sundays were kind of like a lot of times you didn't really work because that was like the one day I feel like you needed to just kind of just have a, you know, like a off day in a way.
Yeah, like a
reset. Like a reset day.
Yeah.
But occasionally, yeah, of course, even if I have a client call me on a Sunday, hey, bro, I want to go look at a home, I'll be there. There's no question about it. But yeah, typically on Sunday, I would actually prep my whole week. I'd have my 5 suits laid out. I'd have a little coat rack, a little rack, and I'd get my suits, my shirt, my suit, my socks, shoes, and everything. I pretty much had everything ready to go for the whole week. That way, I didn't have to think about it. I didn't want to have to wake up in the morning going, what should I wear? Should I wear that color? Should I wear that color? Should I wear that color? I didn't want to waste any time.
Yeah.
I didn't want to waste any time. I wanted to be able to get up, brush my teeth, shower up, eat, get ready, go.
Yes.
There was no like, let's be real. How often do we do that? Like if we're going out to a show or whatever it might be, what should I wear? What
should I wear? And you're spending all this time thinking
exactly.
about it.
Like I didn't want to waste any time, and I realized that. So yeah, I would write. I mean, even talk about writing everything down. I had everything. I literally had a board in my bedroom and in my office too, written down. Every single thing that I had to do for that day or accomplish for the week, whatever it might be, I had it all written down. And once it got done, boom, I crossed it off. Like that structure, that discipline is, I feel like, what allowed me to, I guess, reach the success that I have been able to attain by doing just simple things like that.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so tell me about when did you and Fernando start your real estate team? What year was that?
2019. Which is ironically enough the same year I met Ceci, and he's actually the one that introduced me to Ceci.
Oh, really?
And there's actually a funny story about that too. So okay. I brought him into real estate, and he was like, "Bro, with your..."
He's a barber, right?
Yeah. So he was a barber, and yeah, he used to tour with Nike a lot and Utah Jazz. You know, he made Gordon Hayward's haircut famous, for example. Like he was that guy. Like in the hair industry, he was that guy.
Okay.
You know, and I remember talking to him. I'm like, "Bro, you would crush it in real estate." You know. As we talked about that all the time, you know, and it it was like right when I hit my rock bottom in a way. And, I'd get my haircut and he's like, what's going on, bro? I'm like, well, this up and that, you're going through it. But I would still tell him like, bro, for years. I was like, dude, you would crush it. There's certain people that just have it. You know what I mean? People you look at, you're like, you got it. And so anyway, yeah, I brought him on board, showed him the ropes. And then literally within a few months, he's like, bro, why don't we just do our own team? And I'm like, I'm ready. Let's do it.
Yeah.
He's like, with your background in real estate, mine in marketing, we'll just blow this thing up. And I'm like, bet, let's do it,
Yeah.
And so, yeah, we literally set out the whole vision. I think it was like right around, I think, September-ish, give or take, until the end of the year. We would literally have these meetings, like envision it before it even was all, before we're even at where we're at now. We would sit down and go, okay, cool, here's what we're going to do. Here's what we're going to build. But we laid everything out, the vision. We already kind of seen it, everything play out the way it exactly did. And we would meet. And that's how the journey kind of started, if you want to say, with him and I. And then, yeah, we partnered up and then officially launched, if you want to say, brought on board our first agent in January. What was that, like 4.5, almost 5 years ago? Mm-hmm. But, that began a few months prior to that, of course, just kind of, because I think it's important to envision everything first and plan everything out and not just kind of step in and go, oh, we'll figure it out. No. We literally planned every single thing out. And then we said, all right, now we're ready to bring on board people. Got the office space, got the cubicles, et cetera, the leads, the infrastructure in place in a way, if you want to say. Mm-hmm. Then we were ready to bring on board, our first agent.
So why was it important to get a team started?
The interesting thing is, I got to that point where I'm like, I feel like I reached a level of success that I thought in my mind was it, if you want to say. But then I'm like, but then people would come up to me and call me or see me in the hallway and be like, hey, bro, I have a question about this. Or, hey, what would you do in this situation? Mm-hmm. And I liked it. I'm like, wow, like I can help. Like I can give you advice and people will actually take my advice and then they go and implement it and then they do it and then they go, hey, bro, thank you again for doing that. I got this deal or this worked out the way it did. Thank you for that.
Yeah.
And that didn't take a lot out of my day, but it was like me being able to help in any way I possibly can, help that person achieve whatever they wanted to achieve. And that gave me satisfaction and fulfillment.
Yeah.
In a way. So it kind of fulfilled me. Yeah. Where I'm like, now I kind of got my fulfillment. And then that was around the time where I'm like, I more liked now that chapter of my life.
Kind of like the mentor
because
aspect of it.
Because early on, I think whether you're an agent or anybody, I think it's important that early on you should focus on you. There's nothing wrong with that. Like you shouldn't give everybody your time at the end of the day. Like focus on you. Take care of you first. Get yourself figured out and everything too. Mentally, physically, spiritually, emotionally, whatever financially, you name it. But then you get to the point eventually, this, I guess, next chapter in life where you're like, that's cool, but now how can I help other people too? That's how the team kind of came to fruition, if you want to say.
Okay. And how has the team, and since you started the team, now you have your marketing agency.
Correct.
Yeah. So you have, obviously we're in this studio right now.
Huge shout out to Daniel.
Daniel, yeah, our main man over there. And what inspired creating this? Because I know the value in this, but what inspired it? And where was the vision for this?
The interesting thing, the interesting thing is it wasn't even kind of planned in a way. It was like that first year, like we literally went from one agent from January until the end of the year. We were the fastest growing team in the state of Utah, all over the magazines. I think we had like almost 30 agents by our first year. It was rapid growth. Mm-hmm. And that's, Daniel had a lot to do with that. Like the marketing that Daniel and Fernando, it's like two geniuses that I'm surrounded by. And like, I have nothing but the utmost love and respect. And just like, they brought this whole vision to life.
I was going to say, is it safe to say that you're like the numbers guy and they're like the visionaries, or are you the visionary too? Or like, is it a combination?
A lot of times I wonder too. And I think it kind of goes back and forth. It's kind of like, if you were to let's use the example of like Steve Jobs and a Wozniak, for example. It's like, who's better? Sorry, I'm not going to say who's better, but who's the visionary and who's not? Yeah, you have this person but there's like both people, they do their part. Without one, the other one wouldn't flourish, you know? So I feel like all three of us, like we had this crazy vision. We were just like, we're going to do this and we're going to accomplish this and we're going to do boom, 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 boom. And all of us, it's like, we seen it before it even came to fruition. We were all like, yep, it's going to happen. And it's like this belief within yourself. You're like, it's going to happen. You don't know exactly how it's going to play out, but you know, it's going to work out. But when it comes down to visionaries, definitely, you know, like I have to give it to them, like Fernando and Daniel for sure.
And for people that don't know, Daniel is like the editor. He kind of runs all of this. You do videos for listings. He does videos for content.
Yeah.
So
managing TV shows right now, podcasts for multiple clients. Gosh, you name it, you know.
Yeah,
like,
just like what a cool space to be in.
Yeah, like he handles.
He's a genius.
Yeah, he's in the real estate space. He's in the political space. Like he's in every single avenue when it comes down to it. When it comes down to content creation, just absolute genius. And then you know we have a whole team as well behind Daniel as well.
I think this whole concept is genius. Yeah. I mean, real estate and content. That's really what it's all about. Even for like listings. I mean, having those professional videos make a world of a difference.
Yeah.
You know, like all of it. And having a space to come in and create content, like scheduling out a time to come in, create content, jam it out.
Yeah.
He edits, and then you're done.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? Like, and he can create tons of content videos out of what? Like an hour, Daniel, of filming.
Yeah.
He's got tons of little videos to post. So, I mean, it's genius because videos are where it's at.
Yeah.
So
the way that the media company came to fruition, it was we originally began marketing for ourselves, and it worked. Like we grew at thousands of %, for example, and then I think the year after that, people began calling us. People like, hey, could you do this for us? Could you do that for us? Could you do that? And then we kind of realized like, wow, we've got something here. Mm-hmm. That was probably 4 years ago, probably I'd say, probably about 3.5, 4 years ago, where we're like, wow, like this could be its own little, you know, its own entity in a way, you know, its own business, which it is, and it's flourished and it's thriving right now.
Well, to me too, it's just like you'd be surprised. We do that case study at the end of every year, and a lot of the business struggles are content creation.
Yeah,
and it's like if you would just like hire that out and just like leave it to the experts in that, you know, and then just like schedule it, jam it out, and then you have like all the rest of the time to do all of your money-making activities. Yeah.
Do what you're good at, do what you know.
Right.
Delegate.
I was just, before I was here, I was like doing a little video, and I'm still not done. And it was like 30 minutes. I'm like, I gotta go. I'm over it.
It comes down to what is your time worth?
Yeah.
You know, hire a professional, or even you know people that are within the team, for example. You know, we take care of all that, you know, for them. Mm-hmm. But like, it comes down to what is your time worth? And if you're able to get a return on that and reach, you know, a significant amount more of exposure or audience, it's kind of a no-brainer. Like, would you sit here for hours and hours in editing and trying to put something together that may not be the best quality, or give it to a professional, hand it off, get it back, and you get your end result? Mm-hmm. Like, it's kind of a no-brainer. Like, what is your time worth? Is kind of what it comes down to. Yeah. And focus on money-making activities and not just what is going to waste your time.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Okay. I want to talk about, because you're almost at 11 years. And for somebody that's your age and that has become a professional so young, and you're doing it right. Yeah. And you're well respected in our industry. What do you think some of the greatest lessons that you've learned in your experience?
Gosh, the word that comes to my mind right now, honestly, would be your reputation is everything, I feel like. And that applies to, I think, everything in life, you know, whether it's business or personal or whatever it might be. But your reputation is like, if you're going to say you're going to do something, do it. And just make sure you don't ever burn any bridges or anything like that too. You know, it just stay true to who you are. Do the right thing. You know, if a person hires you for a job, get the job done for them, you know, to the best of your ability. And I feel like that's the most important thing at the end of the day is, you know.
And when you're talking about not burning bridges, you're talking about like with other agents?
Just in general, like, you know, right. make sure you do the right thing. You know, be so, like, it should be common sense, but I don't think people get it, is like, just do the right thing. Right?
Yeah.
Like, treat people the way you want to be treated at the end of the day. like we're all in this together. So like, why should we give each other a hard time? Like, let's work together, and go out there and just crush it.
Right. And I just think that like one of the greatest like value adds is having a good relationship with other agents out there.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm sure you've won some deals because you have a good reputation and like have worked with the other agents on the other side. Yeah.
Yeah.
Sure.
Well, because and I'm glad you touched up on that as well. Is like if you have a client. I mean, if you've been in a transaction where maybe the agent hasn't done a really good job, or maybe unethical, whatever it might be, it's such a small industry. Especially, if you're a top producing agent, you'll run into each other multiple times over the course of your career. Mm-hmm. That's just the honest truth. If like it's your fiduciary duty to protect your client to the best of your ability at the end of the day. So you want to make sure to protect them, But so if somebody maybe is doing something shady, whatever it might be, it's like, hey, just want to let you know what I mean? Like protect your client at all costs. Like if they're hiring you, they're trusting you as the expert, then it's up to you to protect your client at the end of the day.
Yes. Yeah. I think it's so important.
That's why like every time I do a deal, like people will be like, oh, Alen, like I want to work with you again. Like it was such a pleasure working with you. I can't wait to, do it again. Like, yeah, that might help, get you the deal sometimes.
Yeah.
Where it's like, hey, what can we do?
Like I've worked with Alen before, he gets it done.
Yeah. A lot of times, like we were in multiple situations, just a few weeks ago, and I think we were like third competing offer, but the agent was like, no, this guy will get it done. Like this guy will get the job done. He's known for getting it done. And if you're known as that guy, then a lot of times, it's at the end of the day, it's a seller's decision on who they want to go with. But do you want to go with a maybe? Or do you want to go with like, hey, I don't know about this one, but it's up to you, But yeah.
Okay. And I want to talk about investing.
Sure.
Because you do a lot of investments. You help a lot of clients with investments.
Of course, yeah.
So how do you get that conversation going with maybe like past clients, or who's coming to you for investing advice? Is it past clients, or is it just like investors that you've met?
In general, I just got a call like an hour ago from a guy. He's like, hey, bro, I'm looking to invest. I have a couple of properties right now, and I'm looking to do some investing. But it's a little bit of every. I think even myself as well. I think early on in your career, you go from more transactions. Transactional based. Then eventually, I think everybody in general should invest. Whether you buy, whether it's a rental or a flip, whatever it might be.
Do you have long term or short term?
Mine, honestly, are all just long term.
Long term.
I mean, of course, I'm renting them out and everything like that too. But we do flips as well.
Yeah, I was going to say flips.
Oh yeah. So we'll do multiple flips too. We have multiple going on right now. But I think everybody should have a diverse portfolio have long term properties and assets, because you and I both know everything typically over time will typically go up. Mm-hmm. And but in the meantime, to make kind of more, I guess, upfront, if you want to say. Once that time comes in your career, your journey, life in general, I think people should, go down that route as well, if they're ready for it, of course.
Okay. What are you looking for when you're finding a home to flip?
Me personally, I focus on location first.
Oh, okay. Location first.
I always do location first, because I feel like every single property I've either owned or still currently do own, I don't care about the condition too much, actually at all.
Okay.
I focus on location first, because everything inside or around it, inside of the property, of course, I can typically update that or upgrade it, to my liking, et cetera, or to what the market will bear, et cetera. But me, I always do location first. Yeah.
Okay. And then I'm sure you have numbers that you run for your ROI.
The return on investment?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I'm sure you do all those.
Of course.
Okay.
Yeah. To give you an example too, just a few weeks ago, I closed an 8-plex, for example. This is an off-market deal, for example. And the way kind of it played out is me and Fernando were actually doing a flip at the moment. And he mentioned, hey, bro, go pick up some appliances. So what do? I go to the appliance store. I pick up some appliances. I just so happen to be talking to the guy that's selling me the appliances. And what happens? We talk about real estate. Hey, how's it going? Boom, boom, boom. And anyway, we get into, hey, do you have anything you're looking to sell? Actually, yeah, I have an 8-plex I'm looking to sell. Here's what I'm wanting for it. And I'm like, okay, cool. Like, hey, if I get you a buyer for this much right over here, will this get me, a percentage, for the commission, of course. And he's like, yeah, I'll get you your 3% if you can find me a buyer at this price point. What do? I call one of my clients. I've helped over the years. Hey, bro, I have an opportunity for you. I have a multiplex that might be a good fit for your portfolio for what you're looking for. The numbers look good. I think it's definitely worth entertaining. So what do? We schedule time to go take a look, take a look at it in a couple of days. We go out, we take a look at it. We come to an agreement. We make it work. We go under contract. And we just closed on it. I think it was like a week or two ago, I think it was.
Oh, that's awesome.
But it was like, the value. What is the return on it? What are the rents currently? What is the projected rents? What is the projected value of the property? Does it make sense? And in this case, my client was like, yeah, well, let's do it. So it was cool how the reason why I share that example too with people is you can literally go anywhere and talk to people, and it could turn into something bigger and better. Like we came in just to buy
appliances.
I came in to buy a fridge.
Yeah.
Buy a fridge and I think a microwave and a range.
That's wild.
And then it led to something bigger and better. So my point of kind of sharing that story with people is like, wherever you go, talk to people. Like you never know what that might turn into.
Yeah.
Like even like, yeah.
So you guys get into talking about real estate, but did you asked him, like, do you have anything that?
Yeah. I was like, hey bro, do you have anything you're looking to sell?
Yeah.
Actually, yeah, I do.
That's crazy.
And that's what happened.
And then it happened.
But wow. like even around that same time too, like, like I'll post a lot like on IG and Facebook and be like, hey guys, I'm looking to buy a property. If you have anything, let me know. Cash on hand, close in 24 hours. And then people will text me and go, hey bro, I have a property if you're interested. A lot of times I'll take a look at the property and, see if it makes sense. If it does, great. If it not, but something as simple as, in that case, talking to somebody, and that this example here of putting up a little post. Hey guys, I'm looking for a property. What happens right after? Hey bro, or a message or a call. Hey bro, I have a property I'm looking to sell. I just want to see if you might be interested.
Yeah.
Next thing you know, I go look at it. Yeah, I'll buy it right now.
Wow.
Like that will happen quite often. Like
wow.
Actually really often. And if the numbers make sense, they make sense. And it makes sense for the seller as well. If they're looking to get cash on hand within literally a day or two, it's kind of a no-brainer.
Yeah, that's awesome. Okay, I know we're wrapping up on time. If you could talk to your new agent, Alen self, what would you tell him?
A brand new agent?
Yeah, brand new agent Alen.
Ooh, new agent Alen. Gosh, I remember the funny thing is I actually have, I don't know if I ever I know I didn't show you, but I actually have my old journal, believe it or not.
Really?
I have my old journal. Like 10 years ago. I have a little journal and I would document my whole day, like morning, this morning I did that. Like, I still have like old pages where I look at it and be like, I'm looking for my first buyer. I want to get my first listing. I still have all that.
Wow.
And I think my favorite thing, because I actually found that journal like a few years ago, I found it in my drawer. I still have it till this day. And the interesting thing is on the title of my book, well, the journal, where it says name, it's titled The Wolf of Real Estate.
Oh.
And it was funny because the day before I watched The Wolf of Wall Street.
Okay.
And I'm like, I'm going to be the wolf of real estate. And that was like just,
yeah.
I just got into the game. I haven't done a single deal. I haven't proved myself. I haven't done any deals, but it was like that mindset of like, watch me,
Yeah.
And so it's cool to kind of look through that and go, today I want to get my first deal, and today I want to do that, kind of watching that whole journey from 2015, 16, 17, 18. So it's cool to kind of reflect on that. I think what I would tell my younger self, just fresh licensed, I guess OG realtor, if you want to say, is I think I made the mistake of my first year and a half. I was just independent. I feel like I was in a brokerage, of course, but I was independent. Like I didn't really want to be in a team or anything like that, and especially I didn't want to be under a team where it's like named under like somebody. I'm like, I don't want to be like,
right.
I don't want to be
John Smith.
The Tristan team. I'm like, it's pathetic.
Yeah, I get it.
I don't know, but I get it, but I'm like, it's just not my cup of tea, if you want to say. So what I was going to say is my first year and a half, I kind of had a different view on it. And, but if I had to go back again, I would recommend jump on a team.
I'm a big advocate for that, actually.
Yeah. And it doesn't have to be for a long term. It can be for a year, 2, 3, whatever it might be. I don't care. You know what I mean? But like jump on a team, like just to kind of be around the lingo, be around the people that are doing it at a high level, and that way you get the ball rolling.
You get the accountability part.
Yeah.
You get the actions that you're needing to make.
Yeah.
So it's like coming into the office, getting on the phones, hearing what's going on. Like if you've got a deal and Ovais is asking you a question on a contract he's got, you're in there and you're listening.
Yeah.
You're like, oh, okay.
Yeah.
Because let's be real, you really don't know anything.
Yeah, you don't.
No. Let's be real here.
Yeah.
So I'm a big advocate for new agents starting on a team. Exactly. It doesn't have to be forever.
No.
But getting at least like, okay, this is what I'm supposed to do. Like, come to the office, do this,
have
do
that, have that structure, have the accountability, know what you're doing, and treat it as a job. I think too often people don't treat it as a job. Like, I think you should treat it as a job because it is at the end of the day. And not just, I'll come to work, I'll do real estate occasionally here or there. No, like, treat it as an actual job, and you'll see what can come from it at the end of the day. Yeah. That's kind of one thing I would kind of recommend is like surround yourself with the right people that share the same common vision. I think, is making sure you're in the right environment, making sure that the environment it fits who you are, not only where you're going, but also within as well, to make sure that you feel like you're at home. You're like, hey, I'm at home. This is my group here. Let's go, let's go out there and dominate.
Absolutely. I love that. Thank you.
Yeah.
And where do you see yourself going? What is your future?
There is so much going on right now. A lot of it I'm not even going to get into, but there is so much moving right now. Media company, Daniel over there and the team are doing absolutely phenomenal. Like, it's growing at a rapid pace. The investment side flips, and now we have coaching coming up as well pretty soon here with Fernando. Going to a few different states as well. Like, we're expanding quite a bit.
Buying investment homes out of state? Is that what you mean?
There's a lot going on. I'll leave that. Stay
always leaves me like hanging.
There's just so much that we've been working on, and it's beautiful to kind of see everything to fruition. It's cool. Like, you've laid out a solid foundation. You put the work in day over day over day over day, month after month, year over year. And then finally, you build up a solid foundation. The infrastructure is all there. And then it's just, time for everybody to rise to the top. But, media companies doing phenomenal. The real estate team's, doing phenomenal as well. We actually, I don't know if I should, we actually have some changes. I'm not going to say changes. We're actually expanding a little bit. And we actually have a new location, new office that is going to be opening up here probably by Thanksgiving.
Okay.
I'd say by no later than Thanksgiving. There's a lot to come. Huge changes, huge big moves are coming. Okay. It's good. Life's good.
Life's good.
And just.
Okay, what about personally? Give us something personal. What's something that you're looking forward to?
The thing is, I feel like. I think the number one thing is I think everyone strives for, or at least for me personally, I think everyone kind of strives for happiness and peace eventually in their life. And I think you finally get to that point where, that's what you want. You want happiness and peace. And of course you want business and have the right people around you, as you continue to grow I'm just looking forward to what's to come. It's been amazing, this journey, I think, that we're on in life and real estate and just entrepreneurship and let's build that company. Let's build it's fun. It's fun getting in business with people that share the same vision, same mindset of let's just go out there and, and crush it. But, for me personally, gosh, I love my girlfriend so much. I feel like she is and I think it's important, in business and personal, to kind of find the yin to your yang in a way, where it's you might be good at one thing, but they might be good at another thing, but together you're the yin and the yang, and you just kind of, if you flourish. But I feel like she keeps me so, I think, grounded.
That's what I was thinking in my head.
Yeah, she keeps me so grounded, and just kind of and holds everything together, because I'll have my little things here or there where I'm like, what about but she, I'm I think I don't think I would be the man I am, and I hate to even admit it, I think, but I will admit it, I don't think I would be the man that I am today, without her.
Yeah, she's awesome.
And then I think also having kids, I don't even having kids as well changes your whole perspective on life as well. What truly is important and what is not as important. There's certain things you might look at that are hey, that's really important, but then you realize, no, they're really not.
Yeah.
And then you realize there's a bigger or deeper meaning to life, and I think I got that. I got to experience that with having, my 2 kids, Luna and Drake, and it's been, gosh, like right now I'm actually going go see them. I may get them from the daycare shortly here as well. Like, it's cool. It's a beautiful chapter. I feel like.
Yeah, you are in a beautiful chapter right now.
It's fun.
Well, I appreciate you letting me in your circle.
Of course.
So it's a great place to be, and you're a great person to know.
You are too.
So I appreciate you even when you have a little tude, dude.
A little what?
Tude, dude.
Tude? A little tude?
Your attitude.
I don't have an attitude. But
before this, you did.
Oh, just a little bit.
Just a little stings, like here and there.
Just a little. But here's actually one thing that I do want to. Here's actually, because I had this actually changed my approach earlier this year in just life and business and everything too.
Okay.
I think this would be a good takeaway because I feel like it really affected. It really it helped me, and it changed my mindset. I think is so often we get into the mindset of like, let's help everybody, but then you kind of forget about yourself in a way.
Oh, we had this conversation a couple weeks ago.
And I remember like it's like ingrained in my mind now, where it's like that famous quote. I don't know if you heard it or not, but it's like, I'm gonna take care of me for you, and you take care of you for me.
Yes.
I think it's so often we get it flipped, and then it ends up just not working out for anybody. But it's like, take care of yourself first, then take care of other people, and they will do the same thing.
Right.
If I'm not there, if I can't be who's supposed to be for you, then how am I going to show up the way I'm meant to show up? Whether it's within your family, whether it's within your business, a deal, whatever it might be. So that's what I live by now is like, I'm gonna take care of me for you, you take care of you for me. And let's go out there.
Yeah, I love that. That's an awesome way to end our episode today. So where can people follow you?
Anywhere, really. Facebook, Instagram. I got a little TikTok going as well.
What's your handle?
Alen Sells Utah.
Alen Sells Utah. That's one L.
One L.
One L.
Yeah, Alen Sells Utah. And then just on Facebook, Alen Kantarevic. You just have my name. But yeah, no, like, it's like I'm at this chapter in my life where I'm just like I'm enjoying this journey, so like, yeah, like call me, text me if you have any questions or anything. Like, I love giving advice, just helping out. Like, hey, if I can help in any way at all, if I can give you any little piece of advice that maybe it took me years and years to figure out.
Right.
And if I can just tell you, hey, I probably would do this a little bit differently.
And I know you mean that.
Yeah, no, I truly mean
100%.
No, I truly mean that. I don't expect anything in return. It's just like, hey, reach out with any questions if you do have. If I can help in any way, I'll tell you. And if I can't, I'll point you in the right direction where you can get that advice, and that help. But yeah, like, I don't know, we're in this together at the end of the day. Like, so we might as well just help each other out at the end of the day. That's what it comes down to.
I love that.
So, yeah.
Thank you for being here and having me in your studio today.
Thank you.
And we'll see you later.
Hey, thank you guys. Bye.
We hope you enjoyed this episode. Please rate us, like us, and share this podcast with our real estate community. The Nova Show Real Estate Record, sharing raw stories of real estate, failures, lessons, wins, and successes. This is all from Novation Title, bringing a different experience into your world so that we can all uplift each other. Until next time.